Tonight we sit down with 7 parents who say they've lost time with their children and had to fight to father in a broken child custody system.
Our chief investigative reporter Genevieve shows us the problems they faced.
Well, every parent's story is unique, but the results remain the same. They've been deprived lawful time with their children, and in most cases, they say, nothing was done about it.
I haven't seen my daughter since it was August 2014.
I haven't seen 2 of my daughters since a year ago.
Easter weekend of last year.
This April will be 3 years.
Time is what these parents say they've lost with their children.
Hopelessness. It's anger, it's frustration.
I'm not the father I want to be to him. I do want to be more.
It makes me sad, and I'm under depression and all that.
I have a hole in my soul, and there's nothing you can do about it.
In a system they feel is stacked against them.
By a show of hands, how many of you have called police at some point to help with an interference of child custody matter? And how many of those cases were referred to the district attorney's office? And how many were indicted?
I have the one indictment.
Interference with child custody is a state jail felony, but KFOX14 Investigates found records show there were more than 4,000 reports taken by El Paso police for child custody interference from 2016 to 2018. 229 of those cases were presented to the district attorney's office. The DA then indicted just 11 of those cases.
We don't arrest because the DA won't prosecute.
You just empowered that person.
District Attorney Jaime Esparza told us in a statement that these cases are best resolved in family court. And quote, the family law court has the ability to hold a party, the mom or the dad, in contempt of court and have them jailed for violations of the court order.
Interference with custody happens in plain view of uniformed officers when it occurs, while it's occurring. And yet they won't write a citation, they won't make an arrest, they won't make a criminal referral because everybody automatically knows that the DA won't deal with them. It's a waste of time.
But these parents say they've taken dozens of police reports for interference with child custody to family court, and nothing happens.
And you're telling me family court doesn't even care that there are these reports made?
Your Honor, I have a dozen right here.
Dennis Saini's ex-wife was indicted last year for interference with child custody, but as they await trial, he still hasn't been able to see his son.
Can't get your time back.
Interference with child custody is not a civil matter. It's that simple.
Frankie Rogers says his custody battle with one of his sons has been complicated across state lines, despite the divorce decree stating the child could not be moved outside of El Paso.
The state that starts the custody agreement is supposed to maintain it.
Andrew McCray became an activist when he wasn't able to see his son. He has since come to a better agreement with his son's mother and is now helping other parents through the process.
There's no incentives for making sure that parents see their kids.
He says the state's focus is collecting child support payments without any regard for visitation.
If you go on to the Attorney General's office, their website, it'll actually say what we can do is go after child support. What we can't do is help you see your kids.
Federal law incentivizes states to collect child support, which parents say has turned family court into a money machine.
The judge is going to want to hear the child support issues, and they're going to ignore your custody issues.
You're less than a person sometimes.
We interviewed Mark Krieger in 2014. Back then, he had been given primary custody of his children during his divorce, but his child's mother continued to keep the children. He regained 100% custody when his ex-wife was arrested for a different crime.
Yet we have a very similar, very parallel system that makes it a requirement for kids to attend school. There's no reason why we can't make it a requirement for kids to visit their parents based on a court order.
These parents say they understand why some don't fight.
It cost me 14 years of anger, frustration, sadness. I'm lucky I never, wanted to put a gun to my head. I can see why the average dad gives up.
They believe instead of enabling parents to break the law, there are ways to improve the system.
Well, there's a solution available.
Once it gets out there that you're going to get in trouble for doing it, then yeah, there's not going to be as many cases.
Now, these parents and others tell me they're joining with other parents across Texas to bring this issue to legislators' attention in this session. Reporting in the studio, Genevieve Curtis, KFOX 14 investigates.